Hi, and welcome to the showcase of Heapify, an AI tool designed for empowering human learning, which it accomplishes by creating a visually intuitive breakdown of complex topics into the subtopics and lessons necessary to master them. But why am I explaining that to you? Let me just show you. So let's begin by writing down whatever we want to learn. For example, ethics, and clicking on Start Exploring. Heapify generates the starting graph for you. And we see that right here. Ethics is our central node, and here are all the nodes that it suggests for you to learn. These are the subtopics that comprise this general topic that we decided to learn. So for example, I don't know what deontology is, so I'm going to click on that and find out that it is a system of assessing moral questions. So let's dive into deontology. I'll keep the explanation clear and accessible. So Heapify considers the overarching topic that you want to learn and explains the subtopics with respect to that outer context. And here we see that we get a, well, fairly short description and explanation, and a summary and overarching relationship for the topic that you want to learn. So that's great. Let's return to the graph view and see what just happened. Now we learned the ontology, and we see that the connections in our graph grow, and so certain new connections appear. And as we can see, the ontology became green. That's because this node now exists. And we'll be able to see that right here. This is the only node that we've so far generated. Each time that we want to expand on a topic, all we have to do is click on a node, such as virtue ethics, and explore. And our graph will grow and hopefully expand our knowledge in a visually intuitive way. So let's just wait for virtue ethics to load, and we see that it has. And given that we want to learn deontology and ethics, here's a description of virtue ethics. Now, suppose that we read through this, but we simply can't understand the idea of compassion. So, or the idea of the golden mean. We read this, it wasn't enough for us. We would like to get a more detailed explanation of what the golden mean is. Well, we can just go down here, dive deeper, and see that the golden mean is generated. But it didn't simply generate response, it of course provided this connection to us in the graph view. And here we go. And additionally, with that, generated a few more topics that we can explore within virtue ethics. And we are able to play around with this graph and organize it the way that is the most convenient for us. So let's see if it's accurate so far. I actually don't know what the golden mean is, but for, let's say, deontology, we can see that we've explored one of the three nodes that is suggested to us, and we can go through this bit by bit. And let's say we had created a node that we actually didn't really care to learn about, for example, the golden mean. We can simply delete it, and in this way we can organize our graphs to make sure that they only contain the knowledge that we think is important and that we think we might want to return to. So the bottom options here are simply for providing the same utility of clicking that clicking provides. Pick an existing node would let us choose between the many nodes that we have already generated. One that we haven't generated is a general ethics node, and we can just do that right now. perfect. So probably a good place to start. But if you want to break down ethics into smaller parts and learn them bit by bit, simply go around the circle and learn all the nodes that seem relevant to you. Right? So, perfect. Now, let's see how it works if you want to learn something other than ethics. Let's say you are a computer science student. Well, just go back to topic selection and type in computer science. And here we see intro to algorithms, number systems, basic data types, control flow statements. So, of course, one of the most basic concepts you need to know would be Boolean algebra and logic gates. So we can explore that. And after a little while of loading these beautiful charts for our AND and OR gates, we see a little lesson on Boolean algebra. And we can delete it from within if we want. And now it's gone. And learn about something else, like fundamental data structures. Well, I think you get the point. Once again, let's go back to topic selection and see what else we're able to do. One thing we can do is access previous lessons, of course. They are saved as markdown files, and we can access something like mental health, which I created earlier, which is a beautiful graph. This node is unfortunately alone, but that was due to some of our experimenting. So let me just delete that. And what you will notice is that this is actually a circular graph. And this was connected because Heapify establishes when your new nodes overlap some of their subtopics with your previous nodes, and it will form these connections, which can create rather interesting and hopefully intuitive graphs for you to follow your process as you learn about something like mental health. So thank you. That's all we have to show for you today, but obviously there's still much room for Heapify to grow and to become better. So hopefully you can agree with us on how valuable this idea is for the future of empowering human learning. Thank you very much to GenAI Genesis, and hope to see you around. Bye bye.